Hi everybody, this is James from OLIVANGO. Today we're going to look at Childhood Gone Shadowed Wand. We're going to look at some of the gameplay features here and just see what's in store for anybody who's interested in checking this game out. So here it's going to ask us to enter our name. Why don't we put in, I don't know, my name there. Am I sure my name is James? I think so, yeah. And what is my rival's name? I don't know. We can make up anything we want. Let's put in Smoochie. I have no idea. You know, you can name him whatever you want. What month is my birthday? Let's put in a random birthday. I mean, you want to put in your real birthday for the ultimate effect. There is a payoff for this. James, this is your wake-up call. And this intro was really meant to just be more like Chrono Trigger or those old games where you're just sort of in your bed hanging out. Okay, now that we have left the house, this was really modeled to be after kind of older Game Boy games where there was not a super clear direction to begin with. You know, they would just sort of thrust you out in the town with like a text box that explained, okay, you might want to head here. 8-dimensional movement. We do have menus. There's a few different type of things we can look at. You know, the items are food. You know, I thought it would be different to have food instead of healing potion. Also, you can look at your abilities here. You have different magical abilities. You can catch things on fire currently. This is a ability that if you use it, you can teleport to pretty much anywhere you want. So it can teleport you to your house. Later on, if you find some noteworthy things, you can teleport there as well. It's this game's version of fast travel. And you can freely fire your magic wand in any direction here. It has a limited range at first, you can get upgrades later. So now we can freely shoot whatever we want. Items randomly generate from the object you shoot. Like that one right there with the ding was money. You found a cherry, you know, let's look at the cherry. The cherry is a kind of a status ailment removal item. So that's pretty useful. And again, the items that come out of the objects that you shoot are random. So every time you look, it could be something totally different. Now we can freely explore the town. You know, there's things going on, there's characters we can talk to. And they give you a little bit of background about what's going on. Now this is the store. You would mainly just buy things in here. You can look around. The storekeeper, I designed him to look very creepy. And I designed it so that if you were out of range and not looking at him, he would kind of stare at you. But then if you did look at him, he would change his expression. I just really wanted him to make the player feel as uncomfortable as possible while shopping around. I tried to make the non-playable characters in this game have a lot of identity. You know, I tried to give them personality to just make them a bit more memorable. And then he sells very basic things that you probably need sooner or later. You can also sell things to him. Also, you can shoot anyone you want. Depending on who you shoot or why, the game will have a reaction. You know, if you shoot this non-playable character, they didn't like that, they're gonna get mad. But every character has a different sort of reaction to you shooting them with a spell. If you shoot too many non-playable characters with a spell, they're not gonna like it, and you're actually gonna wind up getting punished. Here's another non-playable character. This is a character that will introduce the idea of collecting rare books throughout the game. If you collect enough books, he will give you kind of rare things. This lady will give you the beginning of a trade quest. There's a few items you can trade throughout the game, and the ultimate goal is to get a very powerful item. So if you find enough of the non-playable characters with the right items, you will get rewarded. This is a perfect example of a rare character who you're probably going to want to shoot with your wand. Let's go ahead and shoot her. She'll wind up booting you out of the house. See, this character will trade you if you find candy. So if you find certain types of candy out in the world, and return it to the pig girl, she will give you rewards. So the game itself is a very open world game. You can go wherever you want. You can explore pretty much anywhere, anytime with very little restrictions. You can come to the castle town. The castle town is being protected by soldiers. In the castle town, there are a few locations here, like here's the Catwoman house. She has lost a few of her cats. If you find them, she will give you a few prizes, and if anything, she can actually join your team if you do find all of the cats. And this is the blacksmith. This is where you would buy equipment. I designed this one to look, half of his body is ordinary, and the other half is extremely buff. That is the side of his body that he does crafting with. This character will teach you how to use different magical spells, but they are preoccupied by drinking their coffee and being on their phone. So if you can stand how long it takes them to reply to you, you will get additional magical spells. Buy all sorts of spells, healing spells, damaging spells, each with their own element and purpose. This building, you can enter this and you can hire any one of these mercenaries. There's a swordsman, there's a knight, there's a priest, and there is a ninja. So from your first meeting with your master, he will teach you a different spell which will allow you to access a different part of the game. Once you defeat a monster lord and come back and report your progress, he will give you another spell which gives you further access to the game. There are 3 choices, which are Water Walk, Floating, or Quake. Quake will allow you to break down any obstacles in your way. So if there's an old gate or rocks, you can use Quake and destroy them to proceed. Floating will allow you to temporarily float in the air to move across gaps on the ground. Water Walk, pretty self-explanatory. You can float around on the water for an infinite amount of time. You can just surf around on the water freely. So for the purposes of this video, let's try floating. Another thing to remember is this game can attack you at any time. Random occurrences can happen to you by the ghosts. Any number of the ghosts can attack you and cause random events that are unpredictable. Even I don't know what's going to happen. The game will select out of 100 different things to happen to you at a random interval in time that is determined only by the game itself. It could happen anywhere, anytime. It could be a jump scare, it could be a visual scare, it could remove things, it can add things. There's no real way to know. Throughout the world, you can also notice there's just treasure boxes hidden. A lot of different types of treasure hidden throughout the world. So here's a perfect example of being able to use our floating spell known as Leviosa. Okay, so we're going to float very slowly over here. Temporary floating, so as soon as you land, you want to make sure there's land there, or you'll be reverted back to where you came from. So let's continue to use Leviosa and head over to this right here. So different types of enemies appear in different areas of the game. Like these enemies, these turn invisible, so sometimes you cannot predict where they are or where they're coming toward you. But we can blow them up. If we don't want to fight them, we can blow them up even before we initiate combat, and we still get a small EXP reward. So much of the time, if we have enough magic, we can just sort of blow them up. We ranked up to rank 2 just by blowing up a couple of enemies and not having to resort to the turn-based combat system. Okay, now this is a special treasure chest. You will get a unique item. One of a kind, very helpful to you. So now we found a charm, earrings. Charms are the most powerful items in the game. Now a rickety old grate like this can only be opened if you had chosen Quake power. Now that we have over 1,000 silver, we can head to the pub where we can then hire someone who can help us fight. Ideally, you want to hire somebody who complements you. So at the moment, I'm a character who mostly uses magic. So let's go ahead and choose this knight. Now that we have the knight on our team, they will follow us around freely. We can look at their gear. What do you have, knight? Here, you can take these earrings. Why not? They're a fighter. They're more of a tank character. So really, we have kind of a magical DPS and a tank dynamic here. You can even name them whatever you want. So let's name the knight. It doesn't matter. I don't know. We can name them anything we want. Toenail. Now let's test out our new knight's combat capabilities and see how different it is now that we've hired somebody new. Your hired underlings will fight on their own. You don't need to worry about what they do, or all you really need to worry about is what they're equipped with, but they will play their role nicely. See how the enemies are now mostly focusing on the knight, Toenail. Some powers like Leviosa will have multiple uses. This will allow you to go across water as well. That covers the game world, several interesting non-playable characters, exploration spells, hiring helpers, and combat. If you have any further questions about this game, feel free to contact me at OLIVANGO.com. I hope you enjoyed this gameplay demonstration, and feel free to check out Childhood Gone Shadowed Wand at OLIVANGO.com. Thanks for watching.